Ladies and gentlemen of the media,
Hello, folks.
I'd like to
Welcome
welcome
to the
you to
Executive
another
Mansion Weekly
edition
Press Briefing
of the
with me,
press
Sylvester
briefing,
Chilopolis.
our
Please
weekly
kindly
press
stay with us.
briefing. And as you know, one of the things that I said upon our getting to this post was that our intent, or the administration's intent, is to be very open and transparent to the public and provide information as important as, because for us, we believe whatever we do, the public needs to be aware. So this press conference is part of our commitment to ensure transparency and access to information to our people. I would like to welcome this week the journalist from RGB. If you're here, thank you for coming. And like we mentioned last week, the intent is to regularly have our people outside of Montserrat also cover the executive mansion and be a part of the different activities that we do here. So we want to welcome you. Last week we had Boakai County. This week we're having Margiri. Next week, hopefully we'll have someone from another county. And we're trying our best, and we're also working in line with the local radio stations, and content from these engagements can generally be forwarded to them. We look forward to covering Liberia. Like I said, our goal is to have at least 80% of the population be aware of the happenings within the presidency. Um, so the week has been a busy week as always for His Excellency the President. And as always, he had been working to ensure that his commitment, his policy, his work, his view and vision of transforming Liberia, rescuing the country is achieved. So he continuously been meeting with different partners of the population who are able to, support his agenda, support his idea. Different partners from all walks of life have been chipping in to share their ideas on ways in which His Excellency agenda can be achieved. Specifically, some of you were here yesterday or last evening, we had a special press briefing concerning the situation in Grand Cape Mount County. Just to update you, His Excellency has been briefed about the current status, and he was informed that calm has been restored. His team that he set up, they've gone there to be able to ascertain, the full understanding of what actually happened and what are the issues and how he intends to ensure that those issues are brought under control. He continues to call everyone, and we were informed by the team that the police right now at the moment they're doing community engagement to ensure that calm is restored, information are brought factually to His Excellency. Also, the formation of the government is continuing. As you know, every week the president does the appointment of people he believes that they're competent and good enough to contribute to his agenda and ensure that his agenda is achieved. Also this week there was a special cabinet meeting held, particularly on yesterday, and the meeting was in twofold to get briefing from his confirmed cabinet ministers on the status of the 100-day deliverable, and they were able to report to him about what they've been able to do and ideas they've had, and how that is proceeding. Uh, the meeting also talked about the situation in Cape Mount, and it was at that meeting that he sent his team to be able to get a full understanding, inclusive of the sector ministries and agencies, as well as the Liberian National Police. Also, during the course of the week, His Excellency had a very good meeting with the CEO and members of the delegation of the African Eastern Mediterranean Basin Company. This is a parent company of Cimenco. As you all may know, Cimenco is one of Liberia's leading cement producing company, and the meeting was very fruitful, and there were conversations around what support expansion, especially so in the areas of job opportunity creation for at-risk youth and general population. His Excellency also spoke to the team around the need for investigating. It is showing that local Liberian produce or goods or things that are able or they could be used in the production of cement be studied. For example, we're told that Liberia may have some form of deposit of granite that is needed to, develop cement and other cement-related products. So, I mean, their conversation around investigating more on that, and their interest also was in the educational sector in terms of science and technology for our young people. The meeting also looked at environmental sustainability because we know the cement industry also has some environmental implication, and the chief executive of the country is very much interested in knowing how they're able to ensure that whatever activities they're intending to do must be environmentally friendly, and that they're able to do that for our people. Um, Also, this week, His Excellency had a very good meeting via telephone with the Vice President of the United States of America, Madam Kamala Harris, through a call, like I said. And during that call, they talked about a number of things, but she congratulated His Excellency on his ascendancy to the presidency and the level of work he's already started doing. And most importantly, she talked about the need for the United States investment in the private sector and how they're looking to working with Liberia towards that end. As some of you may be aware that the United States government has committed around 8 million or 8 billion investment for private sector investment in Africa. And she also commented on that Liberia, based on all of the criteria that once the country has met, there's a possibility of working along those lines. And His Excellency was very excited and also expressed his support and interest in that and in follow up with the team here, particularly the United States Embassy here in Monrovia. Um, Again, His Excellency this week signed his first act. As we all remember, his request to the legislature about the 41 million, and it was an act that was authorized by the government of the Republic of Liberia to spend the 41 million. As you know, the House passed the law and the Senate concurred, and then the President has signed that into law, so it's officially law. So I can even give you a few, those of you who have this is the act that authorized the government for that spending. So this morning, the president also had a meeting with her team from the United States, particularly on they call the City, Sisterly City International and the Library for Africa. These organizations are interested in working with sister city relationship in building that network and see how they can support Liberia's interests, particularly in Monrovia and those cities in the US. With the Library for Africa, they're currently working on modalities to construct a public library in Lower Montserrado for the population on that side. So as I said, the president has had a very busy week and he continues to do that to work for the Liberian people. So these are some of the issues I will talk to you about today. And thank you, as always, for coming to the press conference. And I look forward to taking your questions as we go. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Excuse me. I'm Julius Compton and I work for Fortune Television. Two questions. There are so many issues in the country relative to the establishment of war and economic crime school in Liberia. What's the stand of the president? And number two, even though we were told or advised by you not to always follow the Facebook in getting information, but I did see on your Facebook post that you have a fruitful meeting with the South African ambassador and also interviews. I'd like to know latest update regarding that. Thank you.
Well, thank you. My name is Marisa Ivan, I report for KMTV. Well, I would like to know as to what is the status of Paulina Tupa with regard to conversation as to being suspended by the president.
Okay, Morris Dean Brown, I report for Kings FM. Quick one, Madam Presidential Press Secretary. Before you talk about the president dispatching a team to Cape Mount, and specifically he used sectors, ministers or directors to. The sticker issue is that I saw the name of NBC, the National Bureau of Construction, and that place should be a tenure place. So can you clarify to the public who represented the NBC, please? Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Press Secretary. My name is Moses Bakolo, and I report for Luke Segment. Yesterday, a video on social media emerged from Ghana at the Bujumbura camp, and we talked to people there concerning what was happening, and they confirmed that unidentified armed believed to be hired by the Ghanaian government went to the camp and demolished their structures. And when we spoke to the LRRC through this communication office, they said that budgetary constraint has been the main issue why they've not been able to repatriate the over 5,000 Liberians who voluntarily decided to come back to Liberia. They needed some 1.5 million United States dollars to do that under the previous administration, but only 240,000 of that amount was given. So with that situation in Ghana, what is the president's stance on what he intends to do about that?
Yes. My name is Famata Thomas from the Voice of High School. In terms of national security, what steps are being taken to ensure the safety of citizens and address emerging threats? Thank you.
Good day. My name is Mark Ottoman from Tifa Radio. I'm a two concern. One have to do with the issue of the president return, the former president returned to Liberia. I did saw a official release on your page talking about the president wasn't denied, but there have been alleged information about the president was denied entrance to the VIP lodge to get that information. And two, you did talk about the issue about the USVP communication to the president. And what are the prospects in line for the Liberians to benefit as well? Because I know all of the communication coming to the president might be some prospect story, might be some agenda being discussed as well. Okay, so what are they?
My name is Edward Johnson. I report for Bana FM. Follow up to the former president question. Who are those specifically in government that should use the VIP lodge at the Rivals International Airport?
All right, the president will address those questions.
All right, thank you all so much for your questions. So I will start from the top. On your question on the issue of wars and economic crimes, the president at the time he was candidate Boakai has consistently talked about his stance, and that stance remains that the issue of war and economic crime support is a holistic approach for the administration. The bigger picture, it is not about targeting an individual. It is about understanding and telling the stories of where we've come as a country. And as you know, this country, we had a process, the Truth and Reconciliation Commission. And there is a report that is within our system. So the approach of the president and this administration is to ensure that its implementation is holistic It's not just a piggybacking on one issue. On the issue of the meeting that I've held and your comment around Facebook, so my point about journalists, particularly relying on Facebook, for example, to get questions or issue, it was just from a stand where there's an encouragement that I wouldn't appreciate, or even you wouldn't appreciate if you're in whatever space somebody posts and say, oh, this thing is happening, the sky is falling down, for example. And you just take a phone and call the aviation authority. Aviation, there's an allegation that the sky is falling down. What do you have to say to that? You know, but as a journalist, there is an expectation that you do due diligence. If there's an allegation that the sky is falling down, have your people to go and see. Oh, is that the truth? You know, just to be able to get both sides of it. So that's my issue when I said Facebook shouldn't rely or will not be responding specifically to Facebook issues. So I encourage, and this is one of the things I want really, especially for you who are covering the executive mansion, and that will tie into your question and my response to my engagement that I've had over the weeks, is that if you're involved into this space, we must be able, as journalists, to get the facts, to follow the basic tenet. Journalism, like many professions, have their own guidelines and rules. You have to get the fact. You have to make sure it's accurate, it's balanced, it's credible. That fundamental of journalism must always be met. And the basic thing that they will tell you in 101, in journalism 101, for example, that you have to know the 5W1H. What is it? Why? Who is it? When? And you do total due diligence. It will help you being able to, if you call me and ask me about specific, for example, if it's a situation, oh, we got this information that this thing is happening, but you did not take that just from a one source on social media, somebody put in, oh, there's this allegation, blah, 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 what do you have to say? You know, so I'm just encouraging you and coming back to the question of my meeting with the South Africans and Internews, and I also had a meeting with the Chinese. My goal for the office is to really see how we can build capacity of even my team, but more so with you journalists, because I know being in the sector for quite some time, I understand the challenges with their different media institutions. Some of us really do need training. We need training in even understanding our equipment, in understanding of how to cover the executive mansion. Covering the executive mansion is not the regular news feed that you just go, let me just cover and ask regular questions. It is not just that. There's a whole process, there's a whole back end of what needs to happen as a journalist. So my goal in this office is to see how we will help work with you. So my meetings that I've been having, for example, with Internews, and the South Africans, and the Chinese, is to really talk to them about, you know, what kind of support do they have? What programs are they offering? What can they do? So as time goes by, once we culminate those conversations into an actual activity base, you will be hearing from us on some of those trainings. We're hoping that some of those trainings can even be outside of Liberia, for example. But no promises just yet. This is just my intent to engage partners who I know they're in the sector. I know who are doing issues around communications, and some of you, I would really love to see some of you going for courses, and there are also tons of opportunities online that you can also benefit from. So our engagement with these institutions is to build, you know, network, build partnership to support our work that we do here. Because for us, it's not just because we're covering the executive mansion or the political, you know, aspect of all that, but our work, the most important part of our work is to inform the Liberian people, to give them credible information, to fact check our information so that whatever we're saying, we're speaking from the fact. So those engagements, we hope and pray that they come out with some fruitful results and that you all will benefit from them. So on the question of Cornelius, I really wish you did not ask that question, because if you, as a journalist, this is a senior, this is not the question on the spot, and this is for everybody else. As a journalist, it's important to follow through. When this allegation came up, the executive mansion immediately released a statement that it was false, it was misleading, it was unfounded. At no time that Deputy Minister Paulina Kratopa was ever suspended. That did not happen, and the statement have been on our page. And I encourage all of you, to follow us on, the executive mansion page, that you can get actual credible information. And I mean, when that allegation was going around, you have access to this office, or you could have been posted in the chat room, and that question will be answered. So at no time that a suspension or even conversation around that happened. On the issue of grandkid bonds, content in the National Bureau. So you see, government is a system. Government is continuity. And the reason for which this administration is not trying to take on all of the government authority in one group of people. For example, say the executive do everything. There are sector ministries and agencies. So regardless of any administrations are moving, regardless of any issue, technical or whatnot, there are issues happening. And the issue relating to King George particularly is a concession area. It's part of Liberia's concession, one of Liberia's concession agreements that was signed, the MDA, through the government, by the government of Liberia and the company. So with that, because it's a sectorial issue, that's why the National Bureau was involved, or is one of those institutions that was highlighted to be part of that. On the issue of the situation in Ghana, I mean, and apologies, it was just an oversight, but it was one of my briefing notes I was going to let you know. It just skipped. But the situation, the president has been briefed about the situation on the former refugee camp in Bujumbura, and he's been briefed by the Minister of Foreign Affairs. And the president have also given the authority to the Minister of Foreign Affairs to ensure that the situation in Ghana is fully investigated to get the facts on what's going on. So now I can tell you that the Liberian embassy in Ghana is on top of it and is providing information as we get them, particularly through the Minister of Foreign Affairs. You people will be aware of that. But yes, the president is concerned, and the information has been received. Talking about in terms of the 1.5 million through triple RC, again, once the minister gave a full analysis to the president of what the situation is, he will make the appropriate decision on that. On the issue of national security, and my sister from Marigidi, the security sector is one of the key areas that this government is interested in. Interestingly, under the government development plan, the arrest agenda, one of the R's stands for the rule of law. And this government, this country, the president of the Republic of Liberia, His Excellency President Boakai, takes the security of the state, the security of the people very seriously. And that is why he's working with all sectors of the country, particularly the security sector, to ensure that the security is strong. That's why when the situation in Kinjo happened, which was unfortunate, he immediately dispatched his team headed by the Ministry of Justice. The Liberian National Police is also under the Ministry of Justice. So yes, he's very concerned, and he's taking all the necessary action. He has a national security advisor who definitely can advise him on all of the security situation in the country. On the issue of denial of the former president, again, let me say this with all. The former president, there is no intent whatsoever of this administration and the President of the Republic of Liberia, His Excellency Boakai, to by any means disrespect or demean or do anything out of the ordinary to a former president of the Republic. That is not the place of this administration, neither is it the place of any member of this administration, whether it's protocol or whatsoever. So I just hope that the media will clearly communicate this to the public, that this administration will respect and will continue to respect all of our former presidents. And as you all know now, we have two former presidents, President Ellen Johnson Sirleaf and the immediate past president, George Weah. So there is no intent of this administration to do that. So speaking directly to the situation of the lounge, everywhere in the world, there are presidential lounges and there are VIP lounges. And in Liberia, we have two parts of our airport. We have the airport that is specifically for the passengers, the regular passengers, or even for business class passengers. They go through the regular airport, and there's the VIP lounge of our airport. And for the general place that all of us, go through, my recent travel I went through at the time I was in this post as well. Even where you're a business class passenger, when you have a business class ticket, you go to the regular airport in our situation because we do not have the fanciest of things. The business class, when you get up in the airport, when you pass through immigration and everything, there's a lounge for business class. You go and sit there once you have business class ticket. But if you are a regular passenger, you do not have business class ticket, you go and sit where the rest of the other people sit. And if you want to be treated as a business class passenger and you do not have business class ticket, you're going to charge you, pay some money, and go and access the business class one. Because when you're there, they will tell you when the plane is coming, they get some more snacks here and there, and all those things happen. Now, coming to the VIP. I was not going to have one VIP. But the VIP is in segment. You have the presidential lounge, and then you have the VIPs. Including our former president, she uses the VIP. Now, before this new VIP, quote unquote, new VIP was completed or renovated, we only had one space. But even then, at that one space, there was a secluded area only for the president. And presidents who come in only for a sitting president, not former president. So with this current situation, it is just a simple matter. The presidential area in the VIP lounge is exclusively for a sitting president and not a former president. Even President Sharif uses the quote-unquote old VIP lounge. And I hope that this clarification will end this conversation around presidential, VIP. We agree, we understand that everybody is very important in this system. Like I said initially, there's no intent here whatsoever to look at somebody else in any form of way. So our protocol is very clear, and those issues, our protocol deal with them because they know our protocol places that are designated for presidents. Even if you're a former president, you cannot go there. Even you go to other countries, presidential area, when they say this is a presidential, only president has access to it. So we hope that everybody understands this. Please, everybody, let's understand this, that, these things, we shouldn't even be making this as a big issue. I just hope that we will not make this issue because the issues that are in our country is a lot. It's a lot. And our government, the country is really working hard to ensure that those issues are taken care of. For example, the situation, all of us woke up to the violent situation in Kinjal. That's how we have to have a quick press briefing to inform you how the president is, getting involved with it. We have issues of electricity. We're working on modalities to ensure that the rice price is reduced, including other commodities on the market. So those are the things that will make the Liberian people very happy. Those are the things that will make the Liberian people understand that your government is working for you. Our attempt to provide this information should be taken as the most important thing. And this is not to say that those issues are not important. It is not the intent. But I just want us, especially as journalists, to really look at the issues that matters to the Liberian people. On the issue of the somebody said something on Bernard Johnson?
Yeah, if it is specific. Yeah, who are those specific?
Oh yeah, specific. Again, like I said, the presidential lounge is for president. The presidential lounge is for president. When you get there, in fact, in the presidential lounge, when you get there, you see the flag, you see the seal. So if you're not president, why would you want to go and sit, where president is supposed to be? So in terms of the specific people, I mean, you should follow up with the protocol. But I just told you specifically that all other guests, besides the regular, all other guests, they have the VIP. Where currently we have a history, we have a reliance. Our current former president, I'm the not president, we are, but President Ellen, former President Ellen Johnson, not former President, we are, former President Ellen Johnson, certainly, she always using the VIP. In fact, even when our president now was vice president at the time, he never used to use the presidential lounge. In fact, there was a small space that's in the open that he would go and sit there. You just have the securities around him. When he was former vice president, even when he was vice president, you do not access the presidential space. And I hope that this will end our whole president space, VIP and whatnot. It's just clear. When you're president, you get presidential immunities, you use presidential, activities and whatnot. But if you're not, please, it's important for us to have this communication. Communicate clearly with our people. So we'll take the final round of questions. We'll call this press conference to a close. And then, like I said, today, I didn't tell you that, today we'll be doing a
was this video that was published online, the president in conversation with Dr. Allen White, which brought up serious public interest. So I feel that I should get to you to find out about this video, whether it is authentic. And your response to me was fake news. So following my fact checking, I realized that the video is authentic through fact checking tools that we did in collaboration with a recognized institution called Local Voices. So I just want to know whether you still stand by your statement that the video is fake news. And on February 11, we had an issue with the EFL, of which the president addressed the nation, and he set up a committee to investigate in 2 weeks. And if my calendar is right, I think those 2 weeks have expired. Do we have any update on that report? And finally, we have gone more than a month now. I asked you the last time about the president's 100 days deliverable document, and you said what I have is just a temporary. Do we have a final one out now?
Yeah, thank you so much, Madam Press Secretary. My name is Sompong, and I report for Prime FM. Stephen Sompong is my name. There have been issues lingering in public space as it relates to tenure positions. And on yesterday, the Supreme Court of Liberia, this is, let's say, the halt all operations at the National Identification Registry. So I'd like to know the position of the government. Thank you.
My name is Anthony J. Pham for ABC Radio. Thank you for the presentation. 2 concerns. Few days ago, the President Legal Advisor told us that the President was setting up a committee to look into the tenure position situation. Where are we with that? The next one is reports coming from Grand Cape Mount are suggesting that more than one person died. Yesterday, the police or the government reported that one person has died so far from that incident. Where are we? Where are the additional information from there? Thank you.
Thank you again, Samantha Thomas, from the Voice of Firestone. Looking at our economy in this country, Liberia, there are serious challenges that Liberians take over. You go into the market, you see aliens and foreigners. They have huge businesses. Taxes are very huge, and Liberians are struggling in terms of the business. So my question, how can we as Liberians fit into our own economy in our own country. Thank you.
Thank you again. I'm Julius Compton from Fortune Television. Again, I would just like to get a clarity on what actually prompted your post when you stated that this government will not be extracted, and two, that Liberia has just one president, and it's Joseph Newman Boakai. What prompted that statement?
Well, thank you. My name is Aisha Niwan, I report for KMTV. Well, I want to know, for quite 2 days now, the issue of our local currency has been a major issue. You take your money to places to purchase, people will tell you, I'm not accepting this, I'm not accepting that. And this is actually growing tension among our people. What's the view of the president with regard to the issue of currency?
Can you explain when you say you don't deny it? What the actual situation is?
So, for instance, there are classes or categories of bank notes. So, the central bank came up with not much publicity to reach out to the people.